Hi everybody, we're live again from my garage studio, and today we're going to be going through really kind of cool a little gadget gizmo thing for your gimbal for those of you that fly gimbals and are annoyed by the rebalancing that you need by putting on, a different lens. Switching lenses, then you got to rebalance the whole gimbal. You spend like 5-10 minutes or something like that, problem solving or whatever. But this promises that you could just simply switch the lens, and after you have this on this lens you're switching to, it will, be that. That's all you do. You switch a lens. You don't have to rebalance. So if you are watching live, please give a little shout out in the chat box over to your right or whatever. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and send me any messages, I don't really catch up too quickly with the YouTube comments. You could check out in the Instagram. You go to Instagram, say hi in messaging, etc. So I'm going to be actually testing this thing out. I have to admit, I already opened it and then checked it out and tried it onto the lens, and I will give you my thoughts and demonstrate how that worked for me. If you have any questions, feel free to jot them down into chat, and then I'll try to answer them later. Otherwise, I'll just go through this and then get right to it. Okay, so let's go to the overhead camera. Yay, something fancy. And here is Stabilens. You can see actually on the website what they are touting it as. They are saying that you never have to rebalance your gimbal ever again. And this is new, something that popped up in an email that I was pretty interested in seeing if it works for me or not. So it's essentially a ring that goes around the lens, wherever you could fit it on the lens, and adds weight. So if you have a heavier lens, you first balance your gimbal to that, and then put this on the lighter lens. And let me go ahead and play their demonstration video of it at work. Okay, you can still hear me. Hi, Trevor. Welcome back. So, oh yeah, I gotta hit play as a demonstration. You distracted me, Trevor. That's okay. All right, so you can see that swapping lens on the left without the Stabilens, you got to start rebalancing it. But if you already had rebalanced the lens or balanced the lens using the Stabilens, then you should be good to go with just simply switching the lens with a Stabilens on it. Amazeballs, right? So I'm going to see how this actually works on, a Ronin Sc. I'll just simply say on a Ronin Sc, I'm going to see how it works because on the package over here, you can see that it touts that it is on a Ronin S, and it looks like a GH5 on here. I want to say that's definitely a GH5. But my thing is that, well, it's a little bit tough with a gear and a focus motor and stuff like that, especially with the plate that it uses for that to fit anything. So I had to take extra steps. So I'm going to just go ahead and open this first and then show what the process that I followed in order to make it fit. And feel free to plug any questions, as I mentioned before. Oh, I just want to say that it touts itself as the ultimate gimbal accessory. And this is the cinematographer's kit that comes with 2 rings and 2 sets of weights. And it comes with a free, whatchamacallit, like a side-to-side clamp. So we're just going to go ahead and open this right now. Alrighty then. So it comes in a nice little, whatever you call this, kind of a fabric case. And here is the free clampy thing that goes onto the arm to the right on the gimbal when you're facing it from the back. I forgot what it's called. And this kit, which is about $150 or something like that, 160, comes with 2 Stabilens rings, in which then inside these rings you put on the little itty bitty weights. And I'll show that to you right now, what those look like. Now, they come in 2 varieties. In the cinematographer's kit, it's nice to have all these already included. This is a bunch of 5-gram weights. And then there's another bag. I think they give you about 15 of each. And these are 12-gram tungsten alloy weights. You can feel the weight of them. So you could go with 5 grams or go with more than double the weight of 12 grams and already counterbalance to the difference of your lens. So how many viewers do we have right now? Just you, Trevor. Nice. Well, it's just you and me, bro. All right. So I don't think I'm going to need this side to side. In fact, I did not need that. So I'm going to zoom out and actually bring in our guest of honor, which is, ooh, I don't want you to see my shorts. The guest of honor that's going to be taking this rig is this Ronin Sc. Now, the Ronin Sc is smaller and has less room to balance with, so it's a little bit more problematic to counterbalance pretty much anything on the camera, especially a mirrorless camera with this thing. So the GH5 is a little bit bigger, so it easily hits this back motor here when tilting up and down. And I hope it doesn't run into further issues with these fun little stable lens rings. So the heavier lens, the much more front heavy lens I have here is the Olympus 12 to 14. I'll show you an overhead. The Olympus 12 to 14 millimeters, super wide. No, sorry, not 12 to 14, 7 to 14. 7 to 14. 12 to 14 is just lame. So 7 to 14, super wide lens. And because of its huge honkin' lens element in front, especially when you put it to 7 millimeters, it is pretty beefy compared to my actual 12 to 40, which is what I mixed up in my head over there. This is a 12 to 40 lens. You know, it's a 20-40-80 equivalent with a full frame, and it's lighter, less front heavy, and switching this lens out ends up in a lot of time spent rebalancing the gimbal, which is this little Stabilens kit is supposed to fix. Okay, so Trevor says it makes sense as long as it doesn't take long to find the right amount of weights than it would to rebalance. If you use more than 3 lenses, this wouldn't work right. If you're a 2 or 3 lens guy, it should be fine. Should be. Well, if you're a 2 or 3 lens guy, lens kind of guy, the question is actually, do you have enough weights? Because you first balance to 1 lens, and then you could rebalance 2 lenses with these rings, assuming that you don't need to stack up these rings. There's some situations you might need to. And then in that case, if you have enough weights to counterbalance those additional 2 lenses, lens 2 and lens 3, yes, you could be a 3 lens guy and balance and just switch out. But all the work has to happen in home before you actually go out and shoot. And you just attach it to your lens, and hopefully it still fits in your bag. Hopefully it's not a teeny tiny bag that these would get problematic to put into. Now, the thing is that my biggest rebalance challenge is using this Zhongyi Mitacon 25mm 0.95. Let me... how do you remove that? Okay, let me also remove my Instagram. That's being too silly. Anyway, so this is a Zhongyi Mitacon 0.95. This does not fit the ring out of the box. With a little bit of, elbow grease, I could probably design and 3D print a little collar and gaff tape as a shim and all that stuff, and then put this on and it will fit in order to counterbalance the other lenses in my kit. So yeah, but it's not going to work right now, so I'm not even bothered with that. I'm still debating whether I am going to keep this system. So let's go ahead and talk about how I set this up, okay? So the problem with this ring here is that it does require space on the bottom of the camera in order for the lens to fit on. So if you use the motor plate and riser on the Ronin Sc, it's going to bump into that. So what I did was a little bit of a cheat. In fact, I'm going to go show you over the overhead. And let me just tilt this. So what happened here, I don't know if you could see, is that I had to steal a Ziyun riser to put on top of the Ronin, the DJI riser, that then is connected to the motor system over here. Now, if you don't have a focus motor kit, then this is probably going to be a little bit easier because you don't need to adapt anything. But I like using my focus motor. The focus motor is a godsend, especially when you're pushing in and out and you want a shallow depth of field. So I love it. I love it. So that was a little bit of a hack right out of the box. So, okay, let's first of all make sure everything is balanced. Just for this test, I'm not even going to connect the motor because that's too much trouble to do, but you'll get the same kind of idea here. I can see that I already threw it off balance a little bit by talking and nudging it around, but we will just simply adjust it a little bit here. So this is the lens, the 7-14 that we're balancing to. So this, we're not going to put any ring on, assuming that it's the most front-heavy lens. You want to start with the most front-heavy lens and then adapt the other lenses in your kit to that lens so that, you have a baseline. So, okay, when we take this puppy off, okay, let me get the front and back here. I'm not gonna worry about the side to side. Oh my God, it's not unlocking. Okay, side to side, unlock. So you can see it all falls right to the back there, as you would expect. Now, when I put on the 12 to 40, let's see what happens. I have a lot of weight to take over. Now, it's currently set to 18 millimeters, which is not enough of a difference that I would want to use. And your balance changes as you zoom. So I'm going to set it to 25, which is the difference I would want out of this versus the 7 to 14. And then I'm going to have to figure out the balance. Now, thankfully, I've already figured it out with about 10 minutes of playing around. What would actually make the balance difference. So I realized that this, let me go into split screen, that this 12 to blah, blah, blah. This 12 to, this 12 gram gives me much better results. Hi, autofocus. What? Oh, it's probably autofocusing on the gimbal here. All right, this gives me much better results. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with that. Let me zoom in so you could see me as I plug these in. All right, so I had already played around with this and then found that about 12 to 13 weights, it does the trick. And I hope these don't roll off. Now, it is a little tricky pushing these in. And there are an odd number of these little holes for the weights to go in. Okay, that thing is just rolling off. This one is rolling off. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a mess. So you can't get it perfectly symmetrically even, but I'm going to do my best. Well, actually, with 12 to 14, it's going to almost fill everything up. So while I'm doing this, please tell me how you guys are doing. How many people are watching? Still you, Trevor? Dang. What's everybody doing? Is everybody just like violating quarantine and going out to the beach now or something like that? Well, even better, people like working or something like that. So basically, I have to almost put all of this in. So I thought that it would be a huge, really quick, dramatic difference just to put 4 in. But no, it takes quite a bit of weight. That's why I say that, you know, if there's a huge weight difference between lenses, you might end up having to put two rings on a lens at the same time, provided that there's space. Now, the original reason I actually got this was not for this original intended purpose. I was hoping that putting this on the very back of the lens would counteract front heaviness and then allow me to actually push my camera more forward and so it doesn't hit the back. Unfortunately, it turns out that that is not what it helps solve. I was, you know, because a lot of top weights on the camera to push the weight center of gravity backwards makes it too top heavy. The kind of little accessories that attach to the bottom of your camera makes it too bottom heavy, and you got to shift it up, and that defeats the purpose of trying to create more clearance. So this does not solve the problem of creating clearance, but it does have a really cool original purpose, which is allow you to switch between lenses. So I'm just going to have to figure out whether I switch lenses that much on my usual shoots with a gimbal. Because, you know, a lot of my shoots are very mixed. Okay, did I overly add too many? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I added too much. All right. So let's minus. Yeah, Trevor makes a very good point over here. Don't do that in front of a client. You'll get fired. Don't let them see you putting tiny weights into a rubber gasket. Yeah, this is a really expensive rubber gasket though, man. This is premium shit right here. I mean, it's like $50 a ring. I know that's overpriced. Why am I constantly moving it to the wrong direction? Okay, that feels pretty beefy. Yep. Yep. All right, let's move these extra weights out of the way so they don't roll into oblivion while I demonstrate this. Okay, so let's bring this thing. Nope, that's a little too close. Yeah, I'm doing everything manually. And sorry for showing any sweaty armpit. All right, so I got to take this off, obviously, in order to work with. I'm going to put the other lens on because I do not have a body cap at the moment, just to prevent it from hitting dust. And you can see here that it's balanced enough, close enough to not burn through battery and make it go, you know. Okay, so I'm going to put this on so I don't scratch it I'll put it on the ring. Let me actually, I'm going to still go in a little tight. Now, what I realized that my original position of behind on the zoom grip is not a good place because it doesn't pull the weight forward. It was what I was playing with to try to bring the center of gravity of the whole rig a little bit more to the center towards the camera body, but that didn't work for just overall balancing for us camera switches. Oh my goodness. Do not break your lens in the middle of this. That's why I highly recommend doing all this not in front of a client, as Trevor also recommends, and have everything rigged up beforehand. So this is, just make sure it does not get in the way of the focus ring, because that would suck. Okay, zooming is okay. Focusing, a little bit of friction, but close enough. I think the motor will still do its job on that, since it actually deals with worse. Okay, so that's how I have it set up, and let's bring in the gimbal. Gimbal. All right, anybody else in the live stream? 3 people total now. Say hi, everybody. Don't be a stranger. Okay, we are all bored to death in our homes together. Okay, let's take this off. The original, the 7214. And then we're going to put this Stabilens. I'm just going to make a verb out of it. A Stabilens lens on. And I'm going to see if my approximation is correct. Oh, very, very close. A little bit not enough weight, bring it to front heaviness. But that's pretty close. Now, one thing you have to be very aware of is the fact that it does not, I mean, if your lens ends up being heavier after this counterbalance, that means the other axes that you balance for will be kind of screwed up. So you got to keep mindful of that and try to, because you don't really need to see that. You just see the balance. See this, it goes to get the weight as a little bit more side to side as a result of it probably being a teeny bit heavier, or at least more weight on this side. Now, since it's not on the zoom ring, I can actually shift this around and try to get more weight onto one side or another to try to counter that, but it's not going to be perfect. But as long as it's not so off that it screws you up in terms of burning through battery or challenging your motors, I think that is fine. So, yeah, I would add maybe extra weight or something in here. Actually, let's try the pan axis. Oops, gotta unlock it first, Michael. Yeah, pan axis, a little bit front heavy, but it's very slight, so I think we can live with this and just keep on shooting. If you're shooting an event, these are super helpful for you to switch focal lengths. You know, these are f2.8 lenses, a 7-14, and a f2.8 12-40. So I want to stick with these two, especially in low light situations. Now, I wouldn't really, need to use this kind of setup if I have time. If I'm shooting something that's more produced, it's not really necessary in my book. But it is super helpful. It saves precious seconds, minutes, whatever. So if you find yourself constantly in a bind for like switching cameras, and the problems, not switching cameras, switching lenses and the problems that gives you on your gimbal, and gimbal is your life, then this is a highly recommended accessory. Let's go ahead and let me show you the pricing behind this. All right, where is the exit thing here? Okay, let's go to the pricing so you guys could know. I also put a link for direct to B&H. From here, and please click on that. It helps support the channel, even if you buy or not. So it's $150 for the cinematographer's kit, and then $99 for the starter kit if you only have one other lens to balance to. And just the ring itself is $60 frickin'. So it's better to just start with a starter kit that has weights and everything, and you can buy extra weights for way too much money. Okay, coming from the chat end. It's actually not a bad idea. I think people are refreshing because your stream pauses like every 45 minutes. Really? My stream is pausing? That's annoying. Oh, you know what? I also experienced something similar on my computer before, so I think it's just a glitch in general with live. So, it's priced right, they should definitely give you more weights. It must cost them 1.1 cents to make each weight. I betcha. I betcha. And they only sell it in like packs of 5 or 10. As you can see here, I personally think that, yeah, it could be a little bit more affordable to add more weights. But they do give you enough weights to fill both rings in the cinematographer's kit, even though that one half of that is the 5 grammers. So it's possible, depending on your lens setup, that it could work right out of the box with the cinematographer's kit without any additional purchase to work with your your collection, your gear collection. I don't want to call it my collection because, that's assuming I just buy it to buy it, which is not untrue. All right. Yeah, everything should be cut in half for price at least. That's why I'm kind of still debating whether I want to keep this or not, especially now that we are not very busy as filmmakers. But I have to say that, I'm a little tempted to keep it just because of how convenient this is. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is how the whole rubber kind of could slip around when it's jostled in my bag going from location to location. A lot of what I do is filming events, which now without social gatherings, that's why I am so not busy and I am focusing on nerding out with you guys. So like jostling it around, traveling in a bag is a possible concern. I got to actually test that out. Okay, so that wraps it up. My review is that it's recommended if you want to cut down time between lenses and if you have $150 to spare in order to make your life easier on the lens change world, and but not recommended if you are looking for a cheap, way to counterbalance your camera in general, which is actually the original reason I got it, which is to try to move the camera more forward by adding some weight in the back of the lens. It just didn't really work on that. It just simply kind of added more weight and didn't really make that difference of a front heavy balance. I think that this ring needs to be moved to the back of the camera for it to, fulfill that purpose, which I really doubt that I would want to stick it to the back of the camera, even if my LCD is flipped out and there is an opening there. You know what? Actually, I think I will try that. It would be so ghetto, though. I may as well just buy some random other things to stick there. You're going to lose 20% of those weights, right? Especially in the field. Well, Trevor, I hope not. I'm hoping that once you put these in there that they won't fall out. I hope that you're not balancing in the field, that you're taking a prep day if it's not your gear that you're bringing out into the field. That is what I hopefully, everybody should have a prep day and not just show up and discover your kit on the day, especially in productions, when you have the chance. Oh my God, prep days are just so, whenever, and especially when they do pay for it. They don't always do. At least in my experience, I don't exactly work on union stuff, but they don't always work for it, pay for it. But yeah, just being able to set it up, not fumble with these weights on set, especially when you're out in a dusty desert or something in which these would just disappear like, needles in haystacks. That would be the best case scenario. Yeah, 20% loss would be a lot of money in terms of cost of these weights, though. Okay, so I'm opening up for questions now. For those of you that are leaving now, please subscribe and like to keep this channel going and my morale up, so I don't go into the next live stream going like, F you people. Instead, I'll come back going, I love you people. Please come into my house. Here, have some booze. I have some Hennessy. We do have an open bottle of Hennessy, by the way. Which I am afraid to drink. I am on a diet right now. That's why I may be talking a little bit slower than usual. Oh no, I sprinkled this chocolate flakes all over the place. But it's Optavia, and I'm afraid to show it to you guys. But I'm in my second day right now, and it's making my head really light. So opening up for questions or just shooting the shit with you guys now. Yeah. I'm afraid to say F-bombs just in case my daughter is, watching this. Okay, I'm Chun. Thanks for the great review. But I think if you could live 5 or 6 hours, go live 5 or 6 hours earlier so you could get more viewers from Asia. Now I'm watching at 4. Oh my goodness, what are you doing staying awake for my live stream? Just watch the stream afterwards, man. And plus, 5 to 6 hours earlier. I don't wake up that early here. Right now, this is 1 p.m. PST. I barely wake up 8 a.m. Working from home, man. I am a lazy ass, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Okay, I mean, okay, I may try to be. I'm not a morning person. I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm not a morning person. Plus, I like to have time to, enjoy my coffee and get ready to speak in front of the camera and test all the technicalities. I just don't do 9. But okay, maybe I'll do 11 o'clock. How about that? Would 11 o'clock work for you? All right, so any other things to say? Am I slightly out of focus? Oh my god, I thought I tested focus. Is it on autofocus or something like that? That's so annoying. Okay, I changed up the setup a little bit from last time I live streamed, so some things might be a little bit off. Like, for example, this doesn't look that sharp there. I thought I turned off autofocus, but maybe it is on autofocus right now. And the GH5 sucks in autofocus, man, so I don't even like that. All right. Well, while I wait for you guys to respond to me, I am actually going to start cleaning this mess up. Actually, I wonder. Oh, yeah, as a little teaser for those guys that are actually still watching this, I was able to get a loaner for the Vazen 40 millimeter, right here, 40 millimeter T2. So this lens is about $3,300, and they were nice enough in order to loan it to me to try out. Yeah. So it's anamorphic, not 2x, but 1.8x. I know I said in my anamorphilia series, do you like that? Anamorphic philia, love for anamorphic. I did say that I am hardcore 2x, but this is close enough. This is much better than 1.33x. Honestly, 1.33x is for schmoes, man. Joe schmoes. You want to go GH5 or Alexa or whatever and go full on 2x, but this is somewhere in between. I like it. Oh yeah, man, Trevor, I absolutely agree with you. If they could dominate the market of the Micro Four Thirds anamorphic filmmakers, which is like me. Plus, okay, there's definitely a good sized niche market, but yeah, if it was like, I don't know, $2,000, I'd be down, absolutely down to just pick it up right away. But right now, I need to kind of feel out with this testing whether I want to buy one or not. So actually, if you guys have any questions of like anything you want me to test on these lenses, please do go to the Instagram account and then message me with what you want me to test out. Oh my god, that's overlapping. Let's move that down. Yeah, 10K is too much. 10K per lens is actually already considered pretty cheap in the world of anamorphic with the Atlas Orion. But for me, as I'm not shooting that all the time, for clients or whatever like that, it's best for me to just rent that whenever I have the chance, or just, well, yeah, rent. I can't say that they're gonna let me loan it forever, for every paid gig that I have or something like that. Anyway, okay, so next week on Tuesday, I'm going to be unboxing the Canon G7X Mark III, which I want to look into seeing if it's a great blogging camera, so I could actually replace having to hook up a GH5 or whatever. The audio is the other thing to figure out, but it's also great for on-the-field work from what I hear. If there's other gear that you want me to look into that you guys are interested in buying, like if you want me to look even further into live streaming cameras, please do hit me up through Instagram and I'll try to get to all of those. But otherwise, we're just shooting the shit right now a little bit more. But I think it's a good time to stop if there are no other questions. Yeah, I will clean up a little bit more here. Okay, there it is. Actually, I need to re-rig this camera to put the Vazen lens on, so I'm going to take this thing off. Yeah, you got to get it. So, that's interesting. See, this thing like shifts like freaking crazy. Like if you just do a lens change, it's just a 1/4 of a millimeter slight or microscopic shift or whatever like that. It kills your balance perfection. So I'm like so lazy when it comes to balancing perfectly. It's like, just close enough, man. I'm over it. You buy a full set for $6,000, $7,000. There are people who would buy a set for sure. Oh my god, I would love that. But I think part of the thing with the price is that the market is like not big enough to, mass produce. I think Moment, with their pricing for their lens for mobile and also the drones, are actually really, really good for bringing it more to an affordable price. But it's still $200. We'll see. We'll see if this whole like putting anamorphic on your iPhone and little cameras will eventually, mean more widespread anamorphic, meaning more consumption and more price and demand, supply and demand, price going down. I don't know economics. I don't even know why I'm trying. Okay. All right. So if that's all the shit we're going to be shooting, not literally, thankfully, like my daughter did when she was 6 months old. She literally shot the shit. It was gross. Yeah, I think we are done. Oh yeah, let me give you a closer look at the hackery that I did right here. So yeah, there is the actual plate that connects to the keep on going the wrong direction, to the gimbal. Then there's the riser plate that then connects to the focus system. And then there's the additional riser that I put on top. That does screw up balance for me a little bit, so that's a 1 point off for me deciding whether I keep this system or not. If I could find a more classy way of doing it, then that doesn't throw balance off because you are shifting the mounting point and the center of gravity up. If I could avoid that, that would be even better. So okay, thanks for joining everybody, and I hope this was useful for you guys. Once again, I went to 30 minutes, but hopefully the entire runtime was somewhat useful for you guys. Let me know what you guys want to see reviewed or tested on this channel in the future. Next week, as I mentioned, Canon G7X Mark III, and then after that, I believe I talk about Pro Color or Black Pro Mist or something like that. I don't know. And eventually, once I feel like I've had enough to make a conclusion, I will be talking about the Vazen 40mm. I haven't got my hands on 28mm just yet, waiting for that to become available to loan. But feel free to peg me with questions on the Instagram account that is noted right here. Now that I'm split screen, it's slightly different. It's right here. Nope, not right here. Here. Yeah. Okay, see you guys later. Thanks for joining.